Good morning, friends. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get Instagram up and running. All right, going live on Instagram. Last night, I had another workshop with a casting director, and I really think I'm starting to get a very clear handle on exactly what these rooms are. Good morning. This is the Daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Let me know where you are and what you're working on in your acting career today. I'm going to tell you what went down last night. I had a second and final class with casting director Kim Misha, very influential casting director here in New York City. Um, at one point, one of the participants asked, what's the fastest that you've known an actor was going to book a role that you were casting? And she said, oh, as soon as John Hamm walked in the room, I knew he was going to book Don Draper in Mad Men. And I'm just like, yep, that's the level we're working at now. So I was grateful to be in the room. Kim Misha, she's an industry legend, and she's cast some very important projects over the years, and an important person to know. And I got some real insight, I think, as to how these classes fit into my trajectory, my career path. I think there's some lessons to be learned for you and your career path. Good morning, friends. This is the Daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Let me know what you're working on in your acting career, and let's talk about it. So the question that I really wanted to get into with Kim was what I had learned from a different casting director workshop last week, which I took with Ricky Gimmelstomp, who's a casting director at Jonathan Strauss Casting. She cast Chicago PD. Working with Ricky Gimmelstomp was more satisfying in the terms of a class environment and education. There were things that she wanted us to learn being with her in a way that was different than working with Kim. But the usefulness of working with Ricky is limited. The show that she casts, Chicago PD, only casts a limited number of New York City actors because it shoots in Chicago. So they do cast from New York City, but they're really only casting the very most important roles in the show, ones that they can't cast in Chicago because they've already exhausted a lot of the local market in Chicago, and so they have to move on to New York City. So not an unimportant person to get to know, but limited in the sense that that office, even though, hey friends, this is the Daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Hi, Funk's Editing. Thanks for joining me. Hey, Na, welcome. Good to see you. Let me know what you're working on in your acting career. Hi, Sel. Thanks for joining me. So it's interesting because then you work with somebody like Kim Misha, where the usefulness of, hey, Soul Edits, thanks for joining me. Hi, Todd. The usefulness of working with a casting director like Kim Misha, who is casting projects that are working in New York City. Last night she said she's working on season 2 of a project that's shooting in Toronto, but they do. Oh, thanks, Funk's Editing. I appreciate your support. That they are looking for New York City actors who are going to shoot in Toronto. So it was it is a useful way to get in front of an influential casting director. Having said that, I feel as though the scope of usefulness is somewhat limited. I talked with her. The specific question that I wanted to ask him about was about generals. Hey, friends. Hey, who? Hey, Soul Edits. Thanks for joining me. Hey, Maverick LAX. Thanks for being here. Let me know what you're working on in your acting career. and so we can talk about it. Um, but I had only just learned from Ricky Gimelstob about generals, which reminded me of something we used to do back home in Australia called go-sees. My agent would set up meetings for me with casting directors. These meetings do not have a job at stake. It is literally just as let's sit down and talk to each other. Hey, Andre Lee, thanks for being here. And turns out Kim Misha does do generals less these days than she used to. And of course, they're over Zoom. They are rarely in person. These are uh, almost always in over Zoom opportunities for a casting director and an actor who is new to an agency or a manager to get to know each other so that they can explore the possibilities of what they might work together on. So they exist. Generals exist. They are a thing. The unspoken hey, friends, thanks for joining me on the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. So, generals exist, right? This opportunity for actors to just sit down with a casting director in a Zoom situation and get to know each other. And hey, Mel, Legal Eagle, room's getting flooded. But let me know what you're working on in your acting career so we can talk about it. But I'm talking about this opportunity I had with Kim Misha last night, and she confirmed that generals exist, that some actors, and I suspect these are actors who are signed to agents and managers that are the most influential kinds. Hey, Laura's here. Good to see you, Laura. Uh, did you book another commercial this week? I keep expecting you to be letting us know that you booked another commercial. Um, hey, friends, this is the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. So they are kind of similar. These generals are similar to what I know as go-sees. They exist. I do get the feeling that they are for a select few performers and actors. Um, and that what we do in these workshops with casting directors are a poor substitute. We pay for them, of course. It's not, as Kim was very clear to point out last night, it's not pay to play because that's legal, and there's literature on the websites of the companies that set up these meetings that that's not what they are and that's not what they're for. I get it. But they aren't classes. They're not really educational opportunities in the sense that the teacher is coming in with a particular set of things that they want you to know. If you don't ask the question, they're not going to provide the answer. So you have to go in with a very clear idea about what these workshops are going to do for you. They're not going to instantly make you go to the top of the list of that casting director's go-tos for people to hire, at least in New York City. In other markets, there may be very clear, in smaller markets, like where you are, Laura, in Texas, there may very well be, if a casting director specializes in that particular area, they may well have a much broader usage where you are. But here in New York City, casting directors don't have to go far to find new talent. And so it's just being clear about what the usefulness of these opportunities are and whether that usefulness fits with your budget, I think is really the key thing here. What I do appreciate about them is that it is making actors come to grips with and invest in and put their money where their mouth is in terms of visibility. Are you trying to get yourself out there? Are you trying to engage with putting yourself in front of key industry players? And you can't put all your eggs in that one basket and assume that just because you signed up and done a class with Kim Misha that you're now going to go to the top of her go-to list of actors that she's going to call on. But if you don't do it, are you ever going to be on that list? So, and here was an interesting moment for me last night. This was the last night was the second of two classes that we did with Kim Misha, so it was a real investment because, you're paying hundreds of dollars for this opportunity. What I found interesting was that because these were scenes that were assigned to us by Kim Misha and based on the materials that we have on One-on-One's website, One-on-One NYC's website. So my headshot, my resume, my reels are there, so they can have a quick look at those and go, "Oh yeah, that's an older white guy. Let's give him this scene and that scene." Now there were two of us who were in the same type, older white guy, right? At the most basic level, we were the two older white guys in the room. And for the first week, she assigned us the same scene. It was a compassionate doctor in a hospital who was talking a family through rehab options for their daughter who was in with an overdose and potential self-harm situation. We were assigned the same scene. What was interesting to me was that in last night's class, she had assigned us different scenes. So something clicked for the casting director that made her go, "Oh, I see these two guys differently." And that made me think, I I Michael Damian, I want to read that. I just want to finish this noise. Finish this thought. Um, that was a key that made me go, okay, so this casting director isn't just phoning this in. So there is a moment where you can be distinct in these situations. And certainly what I had learned from these casting director workshops in the past was that if you're doing great work, they will call you in. I have been called in from these, for casting opportunities from these workshops before, which is why I'm bullish on investing my money in them again. Uh, so that's what it's worth. I just want to read this from Michael Dean Morgan says, "I'll also say with self-tapes, we miss the social interaction with casting. This is how we used to break through the noise." I agree with that 100%. And what I will offer about, and they, Michael, I agree with you 100%. And it's what we all complain about on both sides of the table about moving from being in the room to self tapes is that we miss the opportunity to build relationships with each other. What casting directors are saying now is that they build that relationship through the tapes that you send. It's not the same. And I think it forces some actors to go into the territory. Okay, here's where I'm going to make my slate different and interesting and cute. Um, and casting directors that I've been talking to are all saying, "Go easy. We've heard all of the jokes before. Women, female presenting actors don't think you're the first person to say, I'm willing to shave." You know what I mean? They're saying, "I've heard all of these before." Absolutely overplaying Michael Dean Morgan. So don't get too cute with your slates because it makes you sort of blend in a way that you don't want to blend in. Really, it comes down to being distinct with the work. And this was something that I learned from Kim Misha, is that really what she's looking for, what makes an actor stand out to her, she said this in the first week of these classes that we did, is the study that the actor has put into the scene. Because she's seeing the same scene over and over and over and over. If she's, watching 100 tapes of actors doing the same assigned material for a role, it's the study that you've put into it that differentiates you and makes you stand out from the pack. And that happened a couple of times last night. And I think that's the real opportunity with these classes, is that you do have a chance to stand out. And that's value if you have the budget to pay for these opportunities. Yeah, so it's just a limited scope in the room. I think I would be guessing if I were to say anything about how many people a casting director wants to pull from each workshop and sort of put them in their mental files about who they're going to be calling in for particular projects. I think it's also a chance in the sense of they may be working on something and thinking about roles that they have. And if you happen to pop up in their class at exactly the right moment, then that's useful for them. The other thing that I really learned this week because I was at an event on Monday afternoon where it was the showcase presentation of a class of creatives going through the Sparkfile Illume workshop, which the Sparkfile is a fantastic coaching situation that I love. Susan Blackwell and Laura Camion have put together an amazing way to coach actors, not just actors, writers, business people, producers, directors into their projects and their creative self-expression and helping them realize those projects and get them out into the world. So the Spark File, if that resonates with you, if you feel like you need some help birthing a creative project that you're sort of mulling over, I highly recommend getting in touch with the Spark File. Super great work that they're doing. But what they also do is that they really try to create a community. And that's what's missing from these workshops is that these are flash in the pan opportunities. Don't feel like you're going to go into these classes feeling like you're going to get a sense of community out of them. There's really no opportunity for the actors to interact with each other. It's just you're watching other people do their work and then and you get your one chance to do it, two chances to do it for the casting director and the class, and then you bow out. So it's not an opportunity. These workshops have a limited scope, and I just want us all to be clear about what that scope is and what that scope is. And oh, things are happening over TikTok. Okay, great. Uh, I have another opportunity tonight. I'm going to a panel in the city organized by the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. Carrie Preston and Findlay Davidson from Elspeth. Carrie Preston, of course, is the lead of Elspeth. Findlay Davidson is the casting director for Elspeth, and they are doing a 1.5 hour panel tonight in the city. I'll be going to that, and I will be reporting back on what I learned. Of course, I pat myself on the back. I had a great role in Elspeth in season 2, and I'm excited to learn to see if I can see what else I can learn from casting director Findlay Davidson and star Carrie Preston tonight. I will report right back here tomorrow on all of that. Wherever you are in your acting journey, remember you got this. You got this. Keep going. And I will see you right back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Thanks for joining me on The Daily.